All right, fine. I'll say it. I'll finally say it. Some of you have probably been waiting for me to say this for a long time. Some of you might be disappointed that I've finally broken. Blue coat out, sack Liam Rosenior, upend everything. Just something needs to change. Welcome, Blue Believers, to another episode of the Stamford Sync, where we are syncing up with everything Chelsea FC. And today, we're not just talking about, but we're going to be talking about the absolute demolition job that Everton pulled off against Chelsea. Why is it always Everton when I end up making a video like this? The last time I made a video like this, it was after we beat Everton, and Enzo Maresca came out and said, "This is the worst 48 hours I've ever had at Chelsea." Mate, pathetic. But this is totally different, man. This is totally different. This is, unfortunately, beyond indicative of the situation, right? Because, look, this is our fourth loss in a row, which is bad. First time we've lost 4 games in a row since Frank Lampard's interim spell 3 years ago, where that was the end of the Graham Potter season. I recently have had a couple of conversations with my mate Kai, and he's been like, does it not start to remind you of Potter? And I was like, nah, not really. Potter was there for a while, and he was so cringe in the press and stuff, and mate, that was a Graham Potter performance if I've ever seen one, man. It was abject, it was spineless. The players didn't turn up. And our away form is usually better than our home form as well. So before I go too far into demolishing Chelsea and the situation that we're in, props to Everton. 3 goals, first time. Beto has scored a brace in over a year. But they turned up and they did the business, man. They executed their game plan. For the first 2 goals, they made us look silly, ridiculous and spineless. And the third goal, we gave them that third goal, not because anything tactical, but because we were so abject and so pathetic. They were like, might as well just try and score a worldie. We gave them the confidence to try something like that. Absolutely outrageous. So look, normally in my reviews I do lineups and subs and tactics and match moments and stuff. Like, we just don't need to do that, do we? We just don't need to do that because the lineup doesn't matter, because we got pumped 3-0 and it wasn't because of the lineup. The things that happened in the game don't matter in terms of because I'm normally a pretty positive guy. This is one of the more negative videos that I'm going to be making, and I hope it's not going to be this bad ever again. But who knows? Maybe it will, man, because of the situation that we're in. But the players didn't turn up to Goodison Park, and I fear that Liam Rosenior has completely lost the dressing room. Because that's what that performance screams to me. They are not buying into whatever it is that he is selling. That creates all sorts of problems, man. All sorts of problems. So look, Liam Rosenior had a reasonably good start. Was beating the teams we were supposed to beat. Lost 3 times to Arsenal. Yeah, that was savage, but we turned up in a few of those games. Do you know what I mean? And it wasn't as abject as just getting absolutely battered. The PSG game, the first PSG game, although the scoreline was bad in 5-2, I was very much like, we actually, it was a 5-minute drop-off at the end of the game where we conceded those goals. It was silly, but we looked really good for the rest of it. The second PSG game, that was bad. Do you know what I mean? That was bad. Then the Newcastle game, only 1-0, but again, just showed like we were missing something. But still, it was only 1-0. Do you know what I mean? There was something to cling on to and be like, it's not the end of the world. But this is the end of the world. It's the end of the world as we know it. REM, wasn't it? REM. Look, help me. I chose this season to become a content creator because I love my football club. And I love talking about football, and I love engaging in it, and I love watching it, but this is just not even fun anymore. This is not even fun. Watching the boys throw in the towel in the manner that they did, it's depressing, man, isn't it? It's depressing. That's really, really tough. So look, a lot of you, blue coat out and, sack the sporting directors and get the manager out and this and that and the other. It's been doing the rounds for a long time, hasn't it? But the problem with it, right, we'll talk about some of the issues in the realism of some of these situations. Sack the manager. Okay, cool. Who comes in right now? Frank Lampard's smashing it at Coventry. We can't get him back in for an interim spell. Blueco have come out and said they've got no interest in letting John Terry anywhere near the first team. No one, anyone that might be, that we might be interested in actually getting for this job is going to want to wait until the summer so they can keep their stock high. This would be like a slightly smaller version of what happened with Ruben Amorim, right? Where he comes in, wasn't ready to, he was given the time or whatever, but he lost a lot of the fans in that first 6-month spell that he had when he was forced to move from Sporting to Manchester United. If we bring someone in now, I know there's a lot less time, similar thing happens. No one that we want is going to come now. No one. And who is even on that list? Like, my issue with that is there are a few managers that I would be happy to see in the Chelsea dugout. Don't get me wrong, of course there is. I don't think we've got any chance of getting a Luis Enrique or a top-class manager or someone like that because of the ownership and the model, the sporting directors. We'll get onto that in a little bit, but we're just going to talk about the manager first. It's Cesc Fabregas was my pick, and I think that his legendary status as a player would maybe go some way to like a Michael Carrick situation at United where there's respect and trust there, and a little bit like we saw with Frank Lampard with the academy players when he came in the first time. The respect and trust that he'd earned as a player obviously did a lot, but also Cesc Fabregas did an amazing job at Como in Italy at the moment. I like his tactics. I like the way he talks. I like the way he deals with his team. Like he was my pick when we got Rosenior, to be honest. Felipe Luis is another manager that's been mentioned who's been doing really, really, really well at Flamengo. But the issue you've got with both of those guys, right? And I'd be reasonably happy to see either of them in right at the moment because what we've got is Liam Rosenior and the house is burning down. Although I would be happy to see either of those guys, Flamengo and Como. We're talking about the same thing. It's the same thing again. Do you know what I mean? It's the same thing again. So at this point in the season, if we sack Rosenior, we have to get an interim. We can't bring in the guy that we want to bring in now. We need to bring in the guy, if Liam Rosenior gets sacked. And I'm not going to lie to you, I don't think he will be either, by the way. I'll caveat all of this. I don't think Liam Rosenior is going anywhere. I think he'll get until, he's a company man. Do you know what I mean? Enzo Maresca walked at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? I don't think Liam Rosenior will walk. I think they'll keep him unless it gets to Graham Potter levels and we end up in 12th place again. Do you know what I mean? Which it looks like it could. But if we get someone in right now, it has to be an interim. I don't even know who might be available to take on that interim job that could see us through the rest of the season to try and get some points to get into the Champions League. I don't know, because that's the job, isn't it? That's the job. But I mean, we're probably just going to end up in the Europa League, aren't we, to be completely honest? So yeah, look, the manager situation is tough, isn't it? Because I am, I feel now like I did after Enzo Maresca's game against Everton where he came out and said what he did in the press, although now what I'm seeing is absolutely abject, pathetic, spineless football. So, the reasoning is different. But at the end of the day, Liam Rosenior is not proving, and this isn't even that I don't think he could do it. I think it's the level of the job, right? Like, he was doing really well at Strasbourg. He had a really young team. He actually performed, although he didn't get the wins, he performed really well against PSG. Do you know what I mean? And we just got battered 8-2 over 2 legs by PSG. Whereas when he had Strasbourg in Ligue 1 and he was playing PSG, the performances were much better than that. So I think the problem is, like, you've got Enzo Fernandez, Cole Palmer, you've got all these guys on massive wages. Cole Palmer's like potentially world-class player, and if they're not buying into Liam Rosenior's stuff that he's selling, then it doesn't matter whether he's good enough or not. It doesn't matter whether his tactics work or the notes work or literally all of that doesn't matter. If he's lost the dressing room, it literally doesn't matter how tactically astute he is. It literally doesn't matter at all. And then all of a sudden you find yourself in a position where it's like, well, if the players aren't going to play for the manager, who goes? Do you know what I mean? I know Enzo Fernandez is probably likely to leave, but, we can't lose 3-4 of our best players in a season because we've decided to stick with Liam Rosenior. Like, that absolutely just can't happen, can it? It can't. So, the manager situation is tough, man. I actually don't think he'll be sacked, if I'm completely honest. I feel like there would have been some noise towards it already, like when Enzo Maresca was sacked, there was noise instantly. Do you know what I mean? Sorry, I've got something in my eyes. It's really annoying. When Enzo Maresca was, there was instant noise the next day. Difficult conversations in the boardroom. Maresca this, Blueco that. We're not seeing any of that at the moment. They haven't come out backing him, but at the same time, it's like deadly silent. Do you know what I mean? Maybe that changes by the time this video goes out. Who knows? But as of the time of recording this video, nothing has emerged particularly I think Fabrizio Romano did say something actually, but I don't think he's in danger of immediately getting sacked. So, let's talk about the other problems at the club. We'll work our way up. We started with the manager. We've talked a little bit about the players. The players mostly, look, let's go back down to the players actually. Wesley Fofana has proved that he can be a really good player on his day, but I'm starting to feel the same way about Wesley Fofana as I do about Robert Sanchez. It doesn't matter how good you are on your day if more often than necessary you are absolutely awful. And he has been absolutely terrible for the last 4 or 5 games. Just throwing him away, man. Throwing him away. Mistakes, petulance. He's just been bad. Robert Sanchez, outrageous, absolutely outrageous. And look, I was one of the guys being like, Robert Sanchez has had a really good season, but where we've seen recently, it doesn't matter if Robert Sanchez has had a really good season, because where we are now is he's been dropped every single season for other keepers. He can't perform for an entire season. He can't do it. He is too anxious. He's too in his head. Makes too many mistakes. Okay, fine. We didn't lose this game because Reece James didn't play. Do you know what I mean? It's just not like that, is it? So yeah, look, the left wing situation, Alejandro Garnacho, yeah, okay, cool. We're at the back end of the season now. Hold my hands up. I had hope at the beginning of the season. He's not good enough. He's just not good enough. It's absolutely not good enough. Maybe as a backup, he could be okay, but when you're throwing him on to make a difference in the game, it's just not working. Pedro Neto looks to be a very different player than the one we've seen. He had poor performances before, but he's just so hot and cold at the moment, and I think it's a mood thing. He's been petulant, he gets stressed out and angry and stuff, do you know what I mean? Cole Palmer, João Pedro, yeah, okay, they're just not performing really well, but, don't hate that, whatever. Moises Caicedo, yeah, okay, whatever, do you know what I mean? We know how good he can be on his day under the right manager and the right system, but it's obviously not happening for him right now. Romeo Lavia, whatever, do you know what I mean? It's like there's only a few players, really, that actively really, really cost us, and those are the players that need to go. I think Wesley Fofana needs to go. And I've recently really changed my mind on that as well, because again, I'm a positive guy. I've been holding out hope, but I can't do it anymore. This is just terrible, isn't it? This is just terrible. The thing is, even if we change the manager and get a better manager, it doesn't matter, because players like Wesley Fofana and Robert Sanchez have shown us how bad they can be. It's the same with Tosin Adarabioyo. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter if he can put in a good performance every now and again. It matters that on his worst day, he costs you games. That's the problem we've got at the moment. We have a few players in the squad that on their worst day cost us football matches. Not just, we couldn't get the win because someone couldn't score a goal. Like Wesley Fofana and Robert Sanchez have got the Benny Hill theme tune running in the background. It's a clown show, mate. It's an absolute clown show. It's ridiculous. It's awful. It's just awful. So, we've got too many players that cost us games. We've got too many players that can't be professional enough to just keep their head in the game despite not enjoying the situation at the moment. They're not putting the season before their feeling towards the manager, the system, the ownership, whatever their problem is. They're not able to be professional enough in order to focus for 90 minutes to get a point at Everton and just not get pumped 3-0. So there's the players, then there's the manager, then you move up one, and we've got the sporting directors, right? We've got the sporting directors. So as far as the sporting directors go, more difficult to judge only because, and I'm not saying that I think they're brilliant and they're doing an amazing job, but they can only show you that they are willing to make change in transfer windows. This is not the first January transfer window that we have not gone big. Do you know what I mean? There was a year before last or something like that. We didn't buy anyone as well. Very few people bought players. Basically City. City were the only team that strengthened in January. So I'm not looking at the sporting directors in the January transfer window going, they had an opportunity there, because no one did. Do you know what I mean? No one did. Even Liverpool bought Jacquet, but for the end of the summer, or for next season. So, and this isn't me backing him up because I'm about to tear into him in a minute, but we can't judge the sporting directors based on the fact that they didn't bring anyone in January. Now, the issue with sporting directors is we can only judge them based on transfer windows. Last transfer window that we actually engaged in was horrendous. In terms of incomings, right? The outgoings, brilliant. They sold so many players. And to be fair to not, the building group of Avengers over the last 4 years, they have shipped out a lot of dead weight. That a lot of it came in under the Roman Abramovich era. A lot of it is stuff that they brought in themselves, but they've moved on And they have been willing to look at something and say, that didn't work. We get him out, make some money. Good. Okay, cool. Brilliant. We haven't been losing money left, right and centre. We've been losing money on the players we've been buying, not the players we've been selling. So, look, compliment sandwich. It's not even a sandwich, really. It's an open-ended sandwich. The foundation is they've been good at selling. The meat of the sandwich is that they've been really bad at buying, right, for the most part. The only players that have done well are players they've spent significant money on that haven't been that have looked really good, and for the most part, right? So we look at Marc Cucurella was great at Brighton, and Man City wanted him. Do you know what I mean? So they were like, right, Marc Cucurella looks really good. City are interested in him. We'll go in. We'll spend that money. We'll get him. Yeah, okay, 60 mil. Cool, that's gone well. Enzo Fernandez, World Cup winner. Breakout at Benfica, really, really good. Spent 100 mil on him. Not my particular choice for the kind of midfielder I think we need, but at the same time, inarguably, has been one of the better signings that they have made. Moises Caicedo, yeah, brilliant, 100 mil. He's the only 100 mil player, or the only really expensive player in our squad that I look at, and I'm like, on your best day, you're worth that. Cole Palmer was a gamble that paid off. João Pedro, I'm reasonably impressed with the João Pedro signing because he scored 5 goals in open play for Brighton last season, scored 5 goals from penalties, and he's had a really, really good season for us. So they have identified something in the data that showed that, João Pedro had more to offer than he was given at Brighton, and he was going to fit the team, and he did. I don't know, maybe that was just a gamble as well, but it was 60 mil. Do you know what I mean? Cole Palmer was a gamble because he was cheap and a relative unknown. João Pedro had Premier League experience, and we spent a reasonable amount of money on him. So that leads me to maybe believe, not supporting, not defending. Yeah, okay, cool. Maybe that was a right decision that they made. But then Esteval. Yeah, okay, cool, Esteval. Generational talent by the looks of things. The only player that arrived on the pitch in the Everton game that looked worth his salt, to be completely honest. So, yeah, okay. So occasionally they get it right. Do you know what I mean? The problem is they're having to buy 5 times the amount of players as they should do in order to find the gems. And the gems are not performing right now. Everywhere else on the pitch, the centre-back situation is dire. The right back situation is good, but we already had Reece James. The goalkeeper situation is absolutely atrocious. Our midfield depth is questionable. We've got no proper centre attacking support for where Cole Palmer should be playing there. The right wing, yeah, Esteval, Neto, Quenda, Palmer to an extent, yeah, cool, right wing looks good. Left wing has just been terrible. Mykhailo Mudryk, Raheem Sterling, Jadon Sancho, Jamie Gittins, and Alejandro Garnacho. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's crazy. That's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of pounds. We spent 60, nearly 70 on Mykhailo Mudryk. Yeah, Jadon Sancho, loan, okay. We spent 50 and an absolute wedge on his wages for Raheem Sterling. We've spent 60 on Jamie Gittins. We've spent 35, 40 on Alejandro Garnacho. We have plumbed so much money into the left wing, and almost every single one of them has just not been good enough. Do you know what I mean? It's absolutely not been good enough. So they have, whatever the data they're using to identify that left wing position is not working. So, sporting directors have this transfer window. They had to prove to us that they are able to objectively look at the situation that is of their own making and rectify it. If we go in for Saeed El Mala, and don't get me wrong, it looks like a good young talent, but if we go in for him and not a top choice, like me and Kai did a video the other day, who would like to see, I'd love to see Anthony Gordon. Not, and just someone of that calibre. A little bit older, bit of experience, quality player. We actually were interested in Anthony Gordon when Newcastle bought him, to be fair. So that was another one. But yeah, we need to see a player of that calibre come in who is just going to absolutely take that left wing first team position, and inarguably. Do you know what I mean? And he's the one that is going to need to make Alejandro Garnacho or Jamie Gittins, or both of them, fight for that spot. Whereas at the moment, you've got 2 players that aren't very good, and both of them are not pushing each other because they're both just not being very good. So yeah, in terms of the Avengers, the sporting directors, Stuart Winstanley, all of them, do you know what I mean? They've, it's difficult to judge because we can only judge them in transfer windows. I judge them right now as bad, essentially. Transfer window before this one, good. This one, kind of bad. Or the last few transfer windows, like I say, they've got the odd gem here or there, slowly putting the team together. Last transfer window, bar João Pedro, after spending nearly 300 mil, bad. Awful transfer window. Absolutely terrible. And if this is because Clearlake and Igbali are pushing the youth thing, and they're looking at our performances right now and being like, no, we're going to keep pushing the youth thing. It's going to be fine. Like, if that's what we see in the summer, yeah, tragic, man. Awful. And I don't know. The thing is, what I don't know is, like, where the pressure is for them. Like, how, you know where the pressure comes from the manager. It's the owners and the sporting directors, essentially. Put pressure on the manager. The manager can put pressure on the players, but also the sporting directors and the ownership put pressure on the players. If we want Blueco out, and we want the sporting directors out, like, who's accountable? Do you know what I mean? In terms of the ownership and the sporting directors, like, who is accountable? Where can that pressure even come from? And look, I know you'll say it's the fans, we can protest and stuff. Yes, absolutely. You know, there's a big protest being organised right now between Strasbourg fans and Chelsea fans, which I think is phenomenal, by the way. I think that's absolutely incredible. I really, really, really love that. But it will be what it will be. I can't think in recent memory when a fan base in the UK especially has been able to club together to force out an ownership. Mike Ashley desperately tried to sell Newcastle for years before Amanda Staveley and the Public Investment Fund came along, and he struggled. Do you know what I mean? That wasn't Newcastle getting sold wasn't because the fans banded together. Mike Ashley was actively trying to sell the club for years. Man United never got the Glazers out. Arsenal never got the Cronkies out. They just got another Cronky that made a good appointment in Mikel Arteta and supported him, and things have gone well for him. Liverpool, up until Klopp, hated FSG. Hated him. Absolutely hated him. And they never managed to get them out. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know where the pressure can come from for the sporting directors to be held accountable unless it is Blueco. Blueco are the only ones that can hold the sporting directors accountable. And if they're all in it together with this thing, I don't know if that's going to happen. But that's just where we are, man. I'm just looking at the time. I've been going for like 20 minutes now. I'm rambling. Absolutely rambling. But this is today, this is an episode of the Stamford Shrink, not the Stamford Sink. I'm therapizing myself and hopefully some of you guys and raising some questions. And what I'd really love is if you've resonated with anything that I've talked about today, let's do it in the comments, man. Let's do it in the comments. And you can roast me, do you know what I mean? Because holding my hands up, like, I've tried to be really, really positive because that's how I am as a football fan. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I can't just throw myself into the depths of the world falling apart or whatever. And look, and I'm not going to lie to you, things could turn around maybe by the back end of the season. We get Champions League, maybe win an FA Cup. I don't know. That's some crazy copium, do you know what I mean? But it's not impossible. We've seen crazier things happen for sure. But yeah, I try to be generally quite positive. But the thing is that the nature of the performance yesterday means that it's just impossible, right? It doesn't matter, like I say, I've said it already, it doesn't matter if the tactics were right or the players are good enough, because no one turned up yesterday. Absolutely no one turned up yesterday. And that reflects horribly on the manager, which in turn reflects bad on the sporting directors, which in turn reflects badly on the ownership. I just struggle to get into the discussion about the sporting directors and the ownership because, look, for me, there's not much in the way of historical precedent to say that something can be done about it, other than hoping that they just look, unless people seriously, actively start boycotting, and again, that's something else I don't think that's going to happen, then this thing isn't likely to change. So I'm pinning my hopes that they can call a spade, look at the results that we've got, look at the players that we've got, look at how many managers they've been through, and go, do you know what? Maybe this isn't working. It's like that scene from Peep Show, isn't it? Where he's with the guy at the Nazi recreation thing, and he's like, "Are we the baddies?" It's like, yes, you are. You're the bad guys. It's you. Help me, people. Help me. If you have made it this far and like me, appreciate me, and want to see me continue to either support or defame my team depending on what happens in that particular day, please do me the distinct honour of liking the video, subscribe, throw me some hype points, help me to help you. I can't help you. I can give you, use me as a punching bag, do you know what I mean? It's like, come in the comments with how you feel about all of this stuff, absolutely go for it. I'm going to wrap it up there, guys, because I'll just keep going. I literally will just keep going, and I'm sure I'll have a lot more to say on this week's episode of Thursday Night Blues with Kai. And until then, well, not until then, because I'm going to be making videos, but if we'll see what happens when we get there. I think it's international break now, isn't it? So, there's going to be a lot of time to discuss what's going on, and a lot of time for Blueco, the sporting directors, Liam Rosenior, and the squad that isn't on international duty to reflect. So, nice one, guys. Thank you very much for sticking around until the end of the video. If you did, I will catch up with you all very, very soon. Take it easy. Peace.